There's a rare kind of power in silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of intention. The kind that hums quietly beneath your actions, invisible, yet unstoppable. The world loves noise. It celebrates the loud, the constant updates, the public declarations of progress. But what if I told you, real success rarely announces itself? What if your greatest growth happens when no one is watching? You see, every time you tell the world your plans, you feed your ego, not your purpose. You waste energy convincing others instead of convincing yourself. And the truth is, people don't always want you to win. Some want to watch, some want to doubt, and others quietly hope you fail. So the strongest move you can make is silence. The silence of focus. The silence of someone who's building in private, becoming unshakable, and letting results make the noise. This audiobook is not about staying small. It's about becoming so powerful you no longer need to explain yourself. Welcome to your quiet revolution. Chapter 1. The Power of Silent Growth. There's a certain sound that silence makes. It's not emptiness. It's not nothingness. It's the hum of something being born, unseen, unspoken, unstoppable. Every great thing you will ever create begins here, in this quiet, before the applause, before the recognition, before the world even knows your name. There's this sacred stillness, and in that stillness, you meet the truest version of yourself. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a seed buried deep underground. No light, no noise, no audience, just quiet persistence. Growth happening where no one can see. That seed doesn't rush to prove itself. It doesn't post its progress. It doesn't shout, "Look, I'm growing." It just grows. In silence, it gathers strength. In darkness, it builds roots. And when the time comes, it breaks through the soil, strong, undeniable, ready. That seed is you. You are not meant to bloom in the eyes of others. You are meant to grow in the dark, where the noise of the world can't reach you, where the judgment of others can't twist your path, where the only voice guiding you is your own. Because the truth is, the moment you start telling people your dreams, the world begins to touch them. And not every hand is gentle. Some people will smile while quietly doubting you. Some will compare. Some will compete. Some will plant fear where there should be faith. And without realizing it, your energy, your sacred fuel, starts to leak away. You don't need to tell anyone what you're building. You don't owe them your plans, your pace, or your process. Your silence is not secrecy. It's sovereignty. We live in a culture obsessed with exposure. We've been taught to show every move, to announce every step, to prove we're doing something. But when you're constantly proving, you stop improving. You start living for validation instead of vision. Think about that. How much energy have you wasted trying to explain yourself, trying to convince people to understand your purpose, people who were never meant to carry it? You don't need their approval to begin. You need your focus to continue. The most powerful moves in life are made quietly. A king doesn't need to announce his next move. He just moves. A storm doesn't send a warning before it changes the sky. And you don't need to tell the world what's coming. Your silence is strategy. Your stillness is power. And the moment you realize that, you become unstoppable. There will be nights when your dreams feel distant, when no one believes in what you're doing, when even you question if it's worth it. And that's when silence will save you. Because in that silence, you will rediscover your why. You will remember that your vision was never meant to be validated. It was meant to be realized. You see, growth doesn't announce itself. It happens while the world sleeps. It happens in quiet mornings, in late nights, in the hidden hours when no one's watching. The gym, before dawn, the notebook filled with unseen plans, the sketches no one's seen yet, the hours you spend practicing, building, becoming without posting, without proving. That's where transformation lives, because one day you'll step into the light, and they'll call it sudden. They'll say, "You came out of nowhere." They won't see the years of quiet work behind that moment. They won't know the silence that built you, but you will. And that's what makes it beautiful. Don't rush to show the world what you're doing. The world rushes to judge what it doesn't understand. Your dreams deserve better than that. They deserve patience, protection, and privacy. You are not behind. You are building in divine timing. Every quiet effort, every private sacrifice, every unseen victory, it's preparing you for a public triumph. When you stay silent, you stay centered. You stop explaining your path to those who were never meant to walk it with you. You stop wasting time convincing others that your dream is possible, because you're too busy making it real. Remember this: the most powerful growth always feels invisible at first. The muscles grow under the skin, the roots grow under the soil, and your strength grows under the surface of your silence. Don't mistake invisibility for stagnation. You are not stuck, you're maturing. You are not unseen, you're becoming. Because when you move in silence, you move without interference. You stop chasing validation and start cultivating value. You stop talking about what you will do and start doing it. So from this moment forward, guard your vision. Let it breathe in peace, away from the noise. Feed it with faith, water it with discipline, and trust the process of unseen growth. Because silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of power. And when the time is right, your results will make the noise you never needed to make. This is the foundation of all success that lasts. Silent growth, rooted in purpose, protected by patience. And as we step into the next chapter, you'll discover how to protect that silence, how to build discipline in the shadows, and how to rise quietly, steadily, unshakably, until the world can no longer ignore you. Chapter 2: Why Oversharing Kills Momentum. There's a hidden cost to being seen too soon. A quiet price we pay when we expose our dreams before they're ready to breathe on their own. And most people never realize how many of their ambitions die, not from failure, but from exposure. Have you ever shared an idea that felt powerful in your mind, only to feel it weaken once spoken aloud? It's as if your excitement evaporated the moment the words left your lips. That's not coincidence. That's energy leaking. Dreams are living things. They are delicate in their infancy, fragile like flame, easily snuffed out by a gust of careless breath. And when we speak them too soon, we expose them to winds they're not strong enough to survive. The truth is, every time you talk about what you're going to do, your mind releases the same chemicals as if you've already done it. It tricks you into feeling satisfied, as if progress has been made, when in reality nothing has moved. That's the deception of oversharing. It gives you the illusion of advancement, while quietly stealing your hunger to act. Your goals don't need an audience, they need your commitment. In today's world, we've mistaken visibility for victory. We think that if people see us working, it means we're succeeding. But the truth, every minute spent explaining your purpose to others is a minute stolen from building it. When you post your process, you invite the world into your sacred space, and not everyone enters with clean intentions. Some people project their fears onto you. Some doubt what you're doing, and that doubt becomes noise in your mind. Some want to keep you small, because your growth reminds them of what they've neglected in themselves. And then there's another danger, one even quieter. You begin performing for approval instead of performing for purpose. You start shaping your goals to impress instead of fulfill, and before you know it, your dream no longer belongs to you. You don't owe anyone updates. You don't have to prove your progress, your discipline, or your direction. Silence doesn't mean you're inactive. It means you're in alignment. The seed that grows under the soil doesn't apologize for being unseen. It just trusts the process, and the process never fails the patient. When you overshare, you interrupt divine timing. You reveal chapters that are still being written. You give others the opportunity to interfere, to judge, to redirect what was meant to be yours alone. Guard your dreams the way a mother guards her newborn, gently, fiercely, without apology. Protect their innocence from the world's noise until they are strong enough to walk on their own. Let me tell you a truth most people don't admit. The early stages of any vision are sacred. They are messy, uncertain, filled with doubt and faith intertwined. That stage doesn't need applause, it needs privacy. Imagine a sculptor halfway through his masterpiece. The form is rough, uneven, incomplete. If he invites people to see it now, they'll criticize what they can't yet understand. But if he waits, if he works in silence, one day he'll unveil something that takes their breath away. Your life is no different. Don't show them the rough edges before you've carved your brilliance. Let your silence be your workshop. Let your focus be your chisel. There's a kind of peace that comes when you stop explaining yourself. When you stop asking for validation and start trusting your vision. You stop leaking energy through words and start storing it as power. The less you speak of your plans, the more you move toward them. And the more you move toward them, the louder your results will become. Because here's the truth. You can't explain greatness. You can only become it. Sometimes silence is the highest form of self-respect. It's saying, I don't need to prove this yet. I'm still growing it. It's knowing that your work doesn't lose worth because no one sees it. It's remembering that validation isn't oxygen. Purpose is. Every great creator, every visionary, every leader who left a mark on history understood this truth. You don't broadcast your blueprint. You build it quietly, patiently, relentlessly. So stop announcing your moves. Stop asking people if they believe in your dream. Believe in it enough for both of you. Let them see the final result, not the rehearsal. Let them feel the shock of your arrival, not the noise of your preparation. Let them wonder how you did it, not when. Because when your success finally shows, the world won't remember what you said. They'll remember what you became. Protect your momentum. Momentum is fragile. It thrives in privacy, dies in exposure. It needs space to breathe, to build, to gather speed, without the weight of opinions slowing it down. Every time you resist the urge to share prematurely, you add pressure to your purpose. You build silent intensity. You become like an arrow, pulled back, waiting, aimed, unstoppable. When you finally release, your silence turns into precision. You owe yourself this discipline to guard your vision from premature applause, to work in peace, away from the eyes of those who misunderstand progress, to let your energy flow where it matters most. In execution, not explanation. You're not hiding, you're building, and one day soon, when the time is right, the world will see the power of everything you created in the quiet. Remember, momentum is not about speed, it's about direction. When your energy isn't scattered, it compounds. When you protect your plans, they mature, and when your silence meets readiness, creation becomes inevitable. So stay silent, stay focused, keep your fire where it belongs, inside you, because every word you withhold from the world becomes fuel for your destiny. And in the next chapter, we'll go deeper into the art of strategic silence, how to speak less, move smarter, and let mystery become your greatest form of strength. Chapter 3. The Art of Strategic Silence. There is a rare kind of wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of control. It's the invisible boundary between chaos and clarity. Think of the moments in your life when you said too much, when you revealed your plans, your emotions, your vision too early. The words may have felt harmless at the time, but somehow they weakened the power of what was still becoming. Because once your energy leaves through your voice, It no longer belongs fully to you. Strategic silence is not about hiding. It's about harnessing. It's about channeling your energy toward creation instead of conversation. It's the art of speaking with purpose and withholding with power. In a noisy world, the one who masters silence becomes magnetic. People lean in closer, wondering what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you're capable of. Mystery commands attention far more effectively than explanation ever could. Most people speak to fill space, but those who understand the weight of silence, they use it to shape reality. The truth is, silence has gravity. It pulls energy inward, strengthening what's still forming. When you keep your dreams quiet, they're shielded from interference. When you keep your emotions guarded, they can't be manipulated. And when you keep your strategies private, no one can dismantle them before they mature. Strategic silence is self-protection disguised as self-discipline. It's a quiet boundary that says, my energy is mine until I decide to share it. You see, not everyone who listens deserves access to your truth. Some listen only to respond, not to understand. Some want to measure your progress so they can compare it to their own. And some simply cannot see the vision that was planted in your heart. Your silence then becomes a filter. It separates those who are curious from those who are committed. It reveals who respects your process and who only respects results. There's great power in leaving some things unsaid, because when you stop explaining yourself, you stop inviting misunderstanding. You allow your actions to speak in a language no one can distort. Imagine walking into a room filled with noise. Everyone talking, shouting, proving their point. Now imagine one person sitting still, saying nothing. All eyes begin to turn. That's the power of silence. It creates contrast. It draws attention not through volume, but through presence. Strategic silence is not passive. It's deliberate. It's saying, I will not waste words that don't move me closer to where I'm going. In a world of constant broadcast, silence is rebellion. It's choosing depth over display. It's choosing to hold your cards close, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because real moves lose momentum when they're performed for an audience. When you act quietly, you act freely. No opinions to dodge, no judgments to absorb, no expectations to meet. Just you and your mission. There's a kind of freedom that only privacy can give. It's the freedom to fail without ridicule, to experiment without commentary, to grow without comparison. That's what strategic silence offers. The space to evolve without interference. Think of a painter in a closed studio. The world doesn't see the early sketches, the mistakes, the reworks. They see only the finished masterpiece. The process remains sacred, because it was protected by silence. That's how true art is born. Away from noise, in communion with purpose. You can do the same with your life. Treat your process like art. Let your silence be the frame that protects it. Silence doesn't mean you disconnect from the world. It means you connect more deeply with yourself. You learn to hear the quiet voice within, the one that isn't influenced by trends, opinions, or noise. That voice is your intuition, and it speaks most clearly when you stop trying to speak over it. Strategic silence sharpens intuition. It trains you to observe instead of react, to see patterns others miss, to sense when to move and when to wait. This is how great leaders make great decisions, not by talking but by listening to others, to life, to their own instincts. Every moment you spend in silence adds weight to your words when you finally choose to speak, because people can feel the difference between noise and truth. When you speak from silence, you speak with authority. That's the paradox. The quieter you are, the more powerful your words become, because silence builds credibility, it builds mystique, it builds strength that doesn't need validation. When you speak too often, you become predictable. When you speak strategically, Every word becomes memorable. So ask yourself, how much of your energy is leaking through unnecessary explanations? How much power have you lost by speaking before it was time? Learn to pause before you respond, to wait before you reveal, to measure the worth of your words before you release them. That pause, that sacred gap between thought and speech, is where wisdom lives. Strategic silence is not silence for the sake of silence. It's silence that builds momentum. It's restraint that multiplies energy. It's choosing to store power instead of spend it prematurely, because when the time comes to reveal what you've built, the impact is undeniable. You won't need to persuade anyone of your value. They'll feel it, they'll see it, and your presence will say more than words ever could. This is what mastery looks like. Control, precision, purpose, the discipline to speak when it matters, and the wisdom to stay silent when it doesn't. When you live this way, people will notice something different about you. They won't be able to define it, but they'll feel it. They'll sense the calm strength behind your eyes. They'll hear the certainty in your quiet. They'll respect what they can't quite understand. That's the beauty of strategic silence. It makes your energy undeniable without you having to announce it. So from this moment forward, speak with intention, share selectively, protect your inner world like sacred ground. Let your silence become your strategy. Let your mystery become your magnetism, because the one who speaks less is often the one who knows more. The one who explains less is often the one who achieves more. And the one who guards their energy most fiercely wins the quietest yet the loudest of all. The world may be addicted to noise, but your power lies in stillness. And in the next chapter, you'll discover how to protect that stillness, how to defend your focus from the distractions, doubts, and external energies that threaten to pull you away from your purpose. The art of silence begins within, but maintaining it, that's the real test. Chapter 4. Protecting your energy, the invisible shield. There's a storm you can't always see, but you can feel it. It comes through conversations, screens, environments, even the silence of your own thoughts. Every day, your energy is being pulled, tested, and absorbed by forces that rarely ask permission. And yet, how you protect that energy determines everything: your focus, your peace, your purpose, your power. Think of your energy like the flame of a candle. When it's guarded, it glows steady, bright, and strong. But when it's exposed to every gust of wind that passes, it flickers, weakens, and eventually fades. Your energy is that flame, and the winds of the world never stop blowing. Protecting your energy isn't about isolation. It's about preservation. It's about knowing where your power begins and where it ends. Because every time you give your attention to something, you're feeding it. Every thought, every reaction, every emotion is a form of currency, and most people spend it without ever realizing how much they've lost. The truth is, energy protection begins with awareness. You have to know what drains you and what restores you, who lifts you higher and who leaves you empty, what environments expand you and which ones shrink you. Most people don't burn out because they're doing too much. They burn out because they're carrying what isn't theirs. They absorb the moods, fears, and chaos of others until their own light grows dim. But you were never meant to be a container for everyone else's emotion. You were meant to be a creator, not a collector. Protecting your energy means learning the sacred art of no. Not the sharp, defensive no born of anger or withdrawal, but the graceful, grounded no that comes from self-respect. A no that says, I choose peace over people-pleasing. I choose alignment over approval. I choose to stay whole rather than scattered. Your boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They don't keep love out, they keep chaos from getting in. They make sure that what enters your world matches the vibration you're trying to live in. You cannot create a life of clarity while standing in noise. You cannot grow into greatness while surrounded by constant distraction. And you cannot stay centered if you keep giving your energy to every small storm that passes through your day. Sometimes, protecting your energy means walking away quietly, not to punish, but to preserve. Sometimes, it means being misunderstood and being okay with it. Sometimes, it means saying nothing at all and letting silence be your boundary. The more you value your energy, the more selective you become with your attention. You begin to notice how gossip feels heavy, how arguments taste bitter, how certain conversations seem to steal hours from your spirit. You start recognizing that not every opinion deserves a reaction, and not every situation needs your presence. Energy protection is emotional intelligence in motion. It's the awareness that peace is not found, it's built. And the bricks you use to build it are your boundaries, your choices, your silence, and your focus. When you protect your energy, you move differently. You stop chasing validation. You stop reacting to noise. You stop apologizing for your calm. Instead, you begin to live from the inside out, no longer swayed by what the world demands, but guided by what your spirit knows. And here's something powerful. Once you protect your energy begins to protect you. It becomes an invisible shield. It repels what's not meant for you. It attracts what's aligned with your truth. It shapes your life quietly, effortlessly, faithfully. But make no mistake, protecting your energy takes courage, because the world will tell you that constant access equals connection, that being always available equals being valuable, that saying yes to everything makes you kind. But none of that is true. You can't give your best when you're running on empty. You can't be present when you're perpetually drained. And you can't pour love into others when you've neglected the vessel that carries it. So start reclaiming your energy in small, deliberate ways. Say no when something feels wrong, even if you can't explain why. Take breaks from people who leave you anxious or exhausted. Spend time in places that remind you who you are, not who you're expected to be. Listen to your body, your breath, your inner rhythm. They will tell you when your energy is leaking. And when you catch yourself getting pulled into chaos, pause, return to stillness. Remember that peace isn't a place you visit, it's a home you build inside yourself. Protecting your energy doesn't make you selfish, it makes you self-aware. It doesn't make you distant, it makes you discerning. Because not everyone can walk with you where you're going. Some are meant to be chapters, not lifetimes. And when you accept that truth with grace, you free yourself to move forward with lightness, not resentment. In the quiet moments, when you sit alone and the world fades into background noise, you'll feel it, the calm strength of your own protected energy. It's a peace that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. It's a power that doesn't need to prove itself. It's the knowing that you are safe within yourself. This is the foundation of real confidence, not loud, not flashy, but deeply grounded. When your energy is intact, your presence speaks louder than any performance. You become untouchable, not because you're hard, but because you're whole. And soon, you'll realize that protecting your energy isn't about defense anymore. It's about direction. It's about deciding where your power flows, toward creation, growth, and purpose. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Every time you choose silence over chaos, your light gets stronger. Every time you choose alignment over approval, you rise a little higher. That's the path of inner mastery, not to control the world, but to command your own energy within it. Because when your inner world is steady, no external storm can shake you. When your energy is protected, the noise fades, the drama dissolves, and life starts to move in rhythm with you. And that is where real power begins, not in domination, but in centeredness, not in resistance, but in balance, not in noise, but in peace. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to transform that protected energy into unstoppable momentum, how to channel your peace into progress, and your focus into flow. Because once your energy is yours again, the world begins to move in ways you never imagined. Chapter 5: Turning Peace into Power. The flow of aligned action. There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when peace turns into movement. It's the instant when calm no longer feels like stillness but strength, when clarity becomes direction, when the soft rhythm of inner balance transforms into the pulse of unstoppable momentum. This is the bridge between being and becoming, between knowing and doing. And it's here, in this space, that your transformation truly begins. For too long, many people have misunderstood peace as passivity. They think stillness means the absence of motion, that calm is the opposite of power. But real peace isn't weakness, it's precision. It's the silence before the strike, the breath before creation, the knowing that you no longer need to chase what you are now aligned with. When your energy is protected, as we explored before, something powerful happens. Your actions become cleaner, no longer reactive, no longer forced, but fluid, intentional, magnetic. You stop moving out of fear and start moving from faith. You stop running from lack and start walking in purpose. Think about the ocean. On the surface, it may look calm, smooth, serene, undisturbed, but beneath that stillness, entire currents are in motion, shaping tides, guiding waves, moving continents over time. That's what aligned action feels like. It's not frantic, it's focused. It's not loud, it's lasting. When you turn peace into power, you move differently. You stop fighting every battle. You stop seeking constant validation. You start acting from your truth, not your triggers. Aligned action is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. It's the decision to move with clarity, not confusion. To let your inner calm choose the next step, instead of letting external chaos dictate your direction. Because here's the truth. Chaos wants your reaction. Peace wants your response. Chaos rushes. Peace decides. Chaos burns out. Peace endures. Your greatest strength lies not in how much you do, but in how aligned you are when you do it. When your actions rise from clarity, they carry a different frequency, one that draws the right people, opportunities, and timing effortlessly into your life. You become magnetic, not by trying harder, but by becoming clearer. And clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from feeling less fear. It comes when your mind quiets, and your intuition can finally speak. It's the voice that whispers, "This way," the nudge that says, "Wait," the calm certainty that tells you, "You already know." Aligned action begins when you stop forcing outcomes and start trusting flow. It doesn't mean inaction. It means intelligence in motion. It means learning to ride the rhythm of life instead of swimming against it. Because life is always moving, always guiding, always responding to your energy. The moment you stop resisting, the current begins to carry you. Let's get honest. How much of your effort in the past came from fear? Fear of not being enough, fear of being left behind, fear of failing, or of being forgotten. That kind of energy may create short bursts of progress, but it never sustains power. Because anything built on fear must keep feeding on fear to survive. Peaceful power, on the other hand, is self-sustaining. It doesn't exhaust you, it expands you. It doesn't demand, it attracts. It doesn't push, it flows. When you act from alignment, you can feel it. There's ease in your movement. There's grace in your growth. There's purpose in every small step. And suddenly, time begins to work with you, not against you. Every goal that once felt distant begins to move closer, not because you're chasing it, but because you've become the kind of person who naturally draws it in. You don't need to force the flower to bloom. You just need to align the soil, the sunlight, and the water. The blooming happens on its own. That's how aligned action works. But here's the secret many miss. Peace and action are not separate energies. They are one continuous flow. Peace gives birth to clarity. Clarity gives birth to confidence, and confidence gives birth to creation. This is the divine sequence of progress. Calm first, motion second. The world teaches you to move faster, shout louder, work harder. But your soul whispers, be still first, then move with purpose. Because a single step taken in alignment can move more mountains than 1,000 steps taken in confusion. So if you've ever felt stuck, it's not because you're lazy or unmotivated, it's because your energy is out of sync with your intention. You've been trying to act without peace, and peace is what gives power its direction. Before you move, pause, ask yourself, does this feel forced, or does it feel natural? Does this come from fear or from faith? Because the source of your action determines the strength of your outcome. When you take action that aligns with your truth, you stop second-guessing, you stop needing applause, you stop rushing the process. You begin to move like someone who knows that what's meant for them cannot miss them. And that kind of faith creates flow. Every moment of aligned action sends a signal to the universe. I am ready. And the universe, which always listens, begins rearranging itself to meet your energy. People cross your path, doors open, delays make sense, detours become divine. Because once you're in flow, everything begins to make sense in time. Remember this: peace without action is dormancy. Action without peace is chaos. But peace with action, that's power, that's creation, that's alignment in motion. As you move forward, stop trying to force timing and start trusting alignment. You'll know when to move, not by logic, but by resonance. The right path always feels like relief, not resistance. And when you live this way, life stops being a chase and becomes a collaboration. You're not struggling against the current, you're dancing with it. You become a creator who doesn't just act, but aligns. And that's when miracles begin to feel like normal days. In the next chapter, we'll explore the art of persistence, not the kind driven by force, but the kind powered by flow. You'll learn how to sustain your momentum, how to stay aligned even when challenges arise, and how to keep your peace alive as your power grows. Because real mastery isn't just learning how to move, it's learning how to keep moving, gracefully, purposefully, and always in flow. Chapter 6. The Discipline of Quiet Persistence. There's a moment in every dreamer's life when excitement fades, when the initial spark of passion begins to flicker, when the early rush of inspiration gives way to the weight of repetition. That's when most people quit, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they lose patience with the silence. The silence of slow progress, the silence of unnoticed effort, the silence of showing up every day when nothing seems to change. But this silence, this long, empty stretch of unseen work, is where greatness is born. The truth no one tells you is that persistence isn't glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't come with applause or affirmation. It's the quiet decision you make when no one's watching. It's waking up on the days when your dream feels far away and saying, I'm still in this. Persistence is not about speed. It's about staying power. It's the art of holding your ground when the world offers you every reason to give up. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's about forcing yourself to do things you hate. But real discipline is devotion. It's love expressed through consistency. It's the daily choice to honor your vision, even when it's invisible to everyone else. Every master you've ever admired, every artist, athlete, thinker, or creator has lived through long seasons of obscurity. While the world slept, they worked. While others sought validation, they practiced. They weren't chasing recognition, they were cultivating readiness. Because persistence is not just about enduring, it's about evolving. Every repetition shapes you, every setback refines you, every delay strengthens your foundation. You're not just building a dream, you're becoming the kind of person who can sustain it once it arrives. That's the real purpose of persistence, transformation through time. There will be days when your motivation runs dry, when you wonder if it's all worth it, and in those moments, you must remember, persistence is not a feeling, it's a decision. You don't have to feel ready to take the next step, you just have to take it. Because action creates emotion, not the other way around. Most people wait for inspiration before they move, but the truth is, movement invites inspiration. When you show up again and again, even tired, even uncertain, the universe starts to respond. Doors begin to open, momentum begins to form, and slowly, quietly, progress becomes inevitable. Persistence is also the great equalizer. Talent may give you a head start, but persistence keeps you in the race. Luck may open a door, but persistence is what walks you through it. It's not about brilliance, it's about endurance. The ability to keep going when the novelty wears off, when the audience disappears, when the results come slower than you hoped. You see, real strength isn't found in bursts of inspiration. It's found in the rhythm of routine. It's found in the 1,000 uncelebrated moments, when you keep doing what matters, simply because it matters. It's in the writer, who finishes a page no one will read for years. The athlete who trains before sunrise while the world sleeps. The dreamer who keeps building in silence, knowing that someday the noise will come, but only after the work. And the beauty of persistence is that it compounds. Every small effort adds up. Every consistent day multiplies. Discipline has a quiet mathematics, invisible at first, undeniable in time. You may not see the progress daily, but the results are building beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. Persistence teaches you something that success never could. How to rely on yourself. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you patience. It teaches you how to find strength in simplicity, power in repetition, and meaning in the mundane. Because here's the secret. Greatness isn't built in giant leaps. It's built in steady steps. It's the accumulation of small, consistent choices that no one sees but everyone eventually feels. Every day you persist. You add another brick to the foundation of your legacy. And one day you'll look back and realize that the silence that once felt empty was actually sacred, the birthplace of your strength. So if you're tired, keep going. If you're doubting, keep building. If no one sees your progress, keep moving anyway. You're not behind, you're just still in the growing season. There's a reason nature takes time to bloom. The roots must grow deep before the flowers can rise high. Your persistence is doing the same, building unseen roots that will one day sustain your success. Remember, it's not the loud who last, it's the consistent. It's not the ones who start strong, it's the ones who keep showing up when it gets hard. Every time you persist, you're proving to yourself that you are worthy of what you're building. You're training your spirit to endure the weight of the blessings you're asking for. And when the moment of reward finally comes, when the recognition, the success, the breakthrough arrives, you'll realize something profound. The reward was never the achievement itself. It was the person you became while refusing to quit. Persistence changes how you see yourself. You stop waiting for external validation because you've learned to trust your own endurance. You stop depending on motivation because you've built momentum. And most importantly, you stop fearing time, because time becomes your ally. Every silent day you persist, you're aligning with the deeper rhythm of life. You're proving to yourself that slow doesn't mean stuck, that progress doesn't always make noise, and that faith is built through repetition. Keep your head down, keep your spirit strong, keep doing what must be done, not for the applause, but for the alignment. Because one day, the world will call it luck, but you'll know it was persistence all along. In the next chapter, we'll explore the art of timing, understanding when to move, when to wait, and how to trust the rhythm of your journey, because persistence is only half the story. The other half is patience, the wisdom to know that what's meant for you will never miss you, but it will always meet you when you're ready. Chapter 7. The Power of Invisible Progress. There is a magic in what no one sees, a force that moves silently, unseen, yet reshapes your entire life. Most people chase recognition, applause, and instant results. They measure progress by what's visible: a number on a screen, a nod from a colleague, a public acknowledgement. But real progress, the kind that lasts, the kind that builds empires of the mind and spirit, happens in the shadows. It happens in the hours you spend learning when no one is watching. It happens in the discipline of your daily habits that nobody notices. It happens in the quiet choices you make to grow, to strengthen, to rise, without a single soul validating your effort. This is invisible progress, the kind that doesn't flash on your social feed or earn immediate praise, the kind that whispers, "I am building you from the inside out." It's invisible because it cannot be rushed, cannot be forced, and cannot be compared. It's measured only by the subtle transformation you feel within, a deeper confidence, a sharper clarity, a steadier presence. Most people fear invisibility. They confuse being seen with being successful. They chase recognition as if it is the reward itself. But listen carefully, recognition is fleeting. It comes and goes, like applause in an empty theater. Invisible progress, however, is eternal. The work you do in silence shapes you in ways the world cannot touch. It develops patience. It teaches humility. It strengthens character. And one day, when the timing is right, the world will notice. Not because you shouted, but because your results speak with undeniable authority. There's a story about a sculptor who works for months on a single statue. Every stroke, every curve, every imperfection corrected, done quietly, without anyone around. No one sees the struggle, the frustration, the countless attempts that fail before the masterpiece emerges. Yet when the unveiling comes, the world marvels. What they see is perfection. What they don't see is the invisible labor that created it. Your life works the same way. Invisible progress requires faith in the unseen. You must trust the process, even when there is no proof. You must commit to growth even when the world seems indifferent, and you must continue moving forward even when the outcome is still hidden. This is not easy. We live in a world addicted to instant gratification, rapid feedback, and visible proof. We are trained to want applause now, to seek validation before the work has ripened. But life doesn't work that way. Mastery, transformation, and true success are built quietly, patiently, persistently, beyond the eyes of observers. Invisible progress is also the antidote to comparison. When you focus only on what others can see, you lose connection with your own journey. You measure your worth by someone else's highlight reel. You forget that growth is personal, and no one else's pace can define your progress. When you embrace invisible progress, you stop needing to prove yourself. You stop chasing attention. You stop explaining your actions or defending your choices. You simply do the work because it aligns with your vision, your purpose, and your integrity. And in that discipline, your life begins to shift in ways subtle but unstoppable. Invisible progress builds a kind of strength that is unshakable. It is confidence rooted not in accolades, but in self-trust. It is resilience formed not in comfort, but in persistent effort. It is power derived not from being noticed, but from knowing you are moving closer to your own highest potential. Here's a secret most people overlook. The more invisible your work, the louder your eventual result. Because when preparation meets opportunity, when quiet effort meets the right moment, the impact is undeniable. and by then, your energy, your focus, and your discipline have multiplied beyond what you imagined. Think about the seeds planted in winter. No one sees them beneath the frozen soil. They appear invisible, dormant, yet beneath the surface, roots grow, strength develops, and life prepares to emerge in spring. Unstoppable, unstoppable, unstoppable. Your unseen work is your winter, your quiet days are your roots, and your breakthrough will be your spring. Invisible progress is also about emotional and spiritual growth. It's about strengthening patience, fortifying resilience, and deepening self-awareness. It's about learning to celebrate small victories, even if no one else notices. It's about internal validation, the ability to say, I know my worth, and I trust the process. The people who succeed the longest are not the loudest, the flashiest, or the fastest. They are the ones who master the unseen. They are the ones who do what needs to be done quietly, consistently, and with relentless faith. They understand that the world only sees results, but transformation begins invisibly. So cultivate your invisible progress. Embrace the hours when no one applauds. Value the days when it feels like nothing is happening. Trust that every quiet effort, every deliberate step, every disciplined choice is shaping you into someone unstoppable. And remember this, the moment your work becomes visible, it carries a force that cannot be ignored. Your results will speak with authority because they are rooted in invisible consistency, and the world will finally see what you have always known in the quiet of your own heart, that you were growing, preparing, and evolving all along. In the next chapter, we will explore how to harness this unseen momentum into strategic influence, how to remain silent in effort, but undeniable in impact. Because mastering invisibility is not the end, it is the beginning of a life where your actions speak louder than any words ever could. Chapter 8. Silent Influence. Winning without announcing. Imagine a room filled with people, all talking, all competing to be heard, all trying to prove themselves. Now imagine one person standing quietly in the corner, listening, observing, fully present. They speak rarely, yet when they do, every word lands with weight. Every eye turns, every mind listens. Their influence isn't loud, it isn't forced, it is undeniable. This is the power of silent influence. It is the ability to move the world without making a show of your movement, to win without broadcasting your every step, to impact, inspire, and lead through presence, not performance. Most people confuse influence with attention. They believe that to lead, they must shout the loudest, post the most, or announce every success. But true influence is different. It is cultivated in quiet mastery. It is earned through consistency, integrity, and the invisible work we have explored in previous chapters. When you understand the principle of silent influence, you begin to act with intentionality rather than impulsivity. You stop performing for others. You stop seeking external validation. You start creating a presence so strong that it doesn't need embellishment. It simply commands respect. The world rewards those who act with substance, not those who act for applause. The subtle power of silent influence is like water shaping stone. It doesn't shout, it doesn't strike. It moves patiently, persistently, and eventually, the world conforms to its course. Think about the greatest leaders in history. How many relied solely on loud declarations? Most were quietly building strategy, refining skill, observing patterns, and then, when the moment was right, acting decisively. Their victories were inevitable, not because they made noise, but because they made mastery. Silent influence begins with self-command. It begins with controlling your energy, your words, your attention. It requires a deep understanding that every time you react impulsively, you give away power. Every time you chase approval, you dilute your presence. Every time you rush to reveal your progress, you weaken the impact of your eventual success. When you work quietly, you protect your energy, you conserve your focus, you sharpen your strategy, and when the time comes to act publicly, your influence is multiplied, precise and unstoppable. This is why the most effective people often appear calm in chaos. They don't react emotionally to every disturbance. They don't announce every plan or thought. They move deliberately, choosing their moments, speaking when it matters, and acting with intention. Silent influence is also rooted in humility. It requires the courage to let your work speak before you do. It demands patience, to trust that impact is cumulative, not instantaneous. It teaches that leadership is less about being seen and more about creating outcomes that speak for themselves. And here is the most important truth. Those who master silent influence eventually achieve a form of freedom that loud performers rarely experience. They are no longer bound by others' opinions. They are no longer pressured to impress. They operate from a place of clarity, purpose, and internal authority. This principle applies to every area of life: work, relationships, personal growth, and ambition. In business, those who act strategically in silence often outperform those who publicize every move. In relationships, those who listen deeply and respond thoughtfully create bonds stronger than those built on noise and performance. In personal development, the internal growth you cultivate quietly becomes unshakable, impervious to external distraction. Silent influence does not mean isolation or invisibility. It means presence without pretense, action without need for applause, power without the pressure of performance. Here's a practical perspective. Imagine planting a tree. You don't announce every leaf that grows. You don't stage photos of its branches daily. You nurture it quietly, consistently, knowing that in time it will bear fruit, provide shade, and leave a legacy. Silent influence works the same way. What is cultivated quietly eventually produces undeniable results. Those who master this form of influence operate in a different rhythm. They understand that timing and discretion amplify power. They know that revealing every step prematurely often undermines the impact of their eventual success. And they trust that when action aligns with preparation, influence becomes effortless. The challenge, of course, is resisting the urge to seek recognition too early. We live in a culture that celebrates visibility, yet the most lasting victories often come from invisibility first. Your job is to practice restraint, to act with purpose, and to measure progress, not by applause, but by alignment with your own vision. Every silent step you take is building authority. Every choice made with intention is creating credibility. Every unseen effort is quietly amplifying your future impact. Remember, the world notices results, not explanations. Those who reveal too soon often face scrutiny, doubt, or misunderstanding. Those who cultivate influence quietly, however, create moments so powerful that no commentary is needed. The work itself speaks volumes. By embracing silent influence, you gain freedom. Freedom from the need to justify yourself. Freedom from the anxiety of public perception. Freedom to focus on what truly matters: mastery, alignment, and long-term impact. And here is the ultimate reward. When you act with silent influence, you begin to win in public without having to announce it. The victories arrive with elegance. The respect is earned without effortful persuasion. The results carry authority because they are born of preparation, patience, and quiet power. In the next chapter, we will explore the mastery of strategy, how to combine silent influence with deliberate action to maximize impact. You will learn how to move with precision, how to align timing with opportunity, and how to turn unseen effort into undeniable results. Because winning quietly is only the beginning. True mastery comes when silence and strategy meet. Chapter 9. Timing. The secret ingredient of silent success. Have you ever watched a sunrise and noticed how it arrives with perfect timing, never early, never late? It doesn't rush. It doesn't apologize. It simply unfolds in its own rhythm, revealing brilliance at exactly the right moment. Life in many ways operates the same way. Your actions, your words, your breakthroughs, They all have a timing that, when honored, turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Chapter 9 is about understanding the secret ingredient that transforms persistence, silent influence, and invisible progress into undeniable victory: timing. It's the art of moving at the right moment, speaking when the impact is greatest, and revealing your work when it is fully ripe. Most people act too soon or too late. They announce too early, seeking validation. They wait too long, trapped by fear or uncertainty. They move impulsively, reacting to circumstances rather than responding with purpose. And in that misalignment, their efforts are diluted, their impact diminished. Timing is not luck. It is awareness, discipline, and patience combined. It is the ability to read the subtle cues of life, the patterns, the rhythms, the readiness of opportunity. It is understanding that while preparation is internal, success is revealed externally only when the moment is right. Think of a seed planted in fertile soil. It requires water, sunlight, and care. You cannot force it to sprout by pulling on it. You cannot rush the growth. The seed grows quietly underground, unseen, accumulating strength, and then, at the perfect time, it breaks the surface and reaches for the sky. Your efforts, too, must follow this natural rhythm. Preparation is your underground growth. Patience is the soil that nourishes it, and timing is the moment the sunlight hits, the moment your work emerges in the world and achieves its full potential. Those who master timing understand that silence is part of the strategy. They resist the urge to announce, to justify, or to force recognition. They know that exposure without readiness is wasted energy. They act with deliberation, ensuring that when they move, the impact is undeniable. Timing also requires trust. Trust in your process, trust in your preparation, and trust in life itself. Too often we act prematurely because we doubt ourselves or the journey. We act impulsively because we fear being overlooked or forgotten. But rushing the process only scatters energy and weakens results. Faith in timing allows effort to accumulate, insight to deepen, and readiness to align with opportunity. Consider the stories of those who achieved greatness quietly. A scientist waits for the right experiment to yield results. An entrepreneur waits for the market to be ready. An artist waits for the vision to fully form. When they act, the world cannot ignore the outcome. It resonates because it is perfectly timed. Timing also amplifies invisible progress and silent influence. The work you've done quietly becomes undeniable when revealed at the right moment. The discipline you've cultivated, the skills you've refined, and the character you've built combine to create a wave of impact that is more powerful than any hurried effort. But how do you know the right time? The answer is deceptively simple. Listen. Observe. Timing is not always calculated. It is intuitive. It emerges from presence, awareness, and the accumulation of preparation. It is the quiet voice that says, "Now," after months of saying nothing. Impatience is the enemy of timing. When you act too soon, you invite resistance. When you wait too long, you risk missed opportunity. Mastering timing requires a balance. Patience without passivity, action without haste, observation without distraction. And timing is not only external, it is internal as well. Your readiness, confidence, and alignment with your own purpose dictate when the moment is truly right. No external signal is as powerful as the inner sense of preparedness. When mind, body, and spirit are aligned, action becomes effortless and results inevitable. The paradox of timing is that while it demands patience, it also rewards boldness. Those who have prepared quietly and cultivated silent influence must be ready to act decisively when the moment arrives. Hesitation at the moment of opportunity can squander years of effort. Courage and discernment must meet patience and preparation. In life, everything has its season. Some breakthroughs cannot be rushed, some rewards cannot be forced. Your role is to prepare, persist and position yourself so that when the moment comes, you are the one ready to rise. Timing also teaches humility. You learn to wait without frustration, to trust without needing proof, and to act without seeking approval. You begin to understand that life unfolds with a rhythm beyond your control, and that alignment, not force, is the key to lasting impact. So embrace the rhythm. Honor the seasons of your effort. Trust that what is meant for you will arrive, not a moment too soon, not a moment too late, but precisely when it can have the greatest effect. And when your moment comes, move with clarity, confidence, and precision. Let your preparation, persistence, and silent influence converge to create a result that cannot be ignored. This is how invisible work becomes visible mastery. This is how quiet effort becomes undeniable success. In the next chapter, we will bring everything together: the persistence, the invisible progress, the silent influence, and the timing, into a complete strategy for winning in life without needing to announce your every step. We will explore the art of aligning preparation with opportunity, action with discretion, and silence with impact, because the culmination of all these principles is not just success, it is mastery. Chapter 10: The Quiet Mastery of Life. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a river carving its path through a mountain. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. It moves with relentless persistence, patient and unwavering, shaping the landscape over time. And eventually, what was once immovable bends to its will. This, my friend, is the essence of quiet mastery, the culmination of everything we have explored in this journey. Chapter 10 is about bringing together the principles of silence, focus, patience, timing, and influence into a life lived with deliberate power. It is the art of achieving greatness without the need for constant validation, applause, or public display. It is winning in a way that feels natural, authentic, and profoundly fulfilling. Throughout this audiobook, we have learned that announcing every step, seeking approval, and broadcasting every effort often scatters energy and diminishes impact. We have discovered that invisible progress, disciplined focus, and silent influence are the hidden engines of true achievement. And we have explored how patience, timing, and strategic action amplify the results of our unseen labor. Now, it is time to integrate all these lessons into a philosophy of life, a way of moving through the world that is quietly powerful and endlessly effective. Quiet mastery begins with self-mastery. Your thoughts, your habits, your focus, and your energy must align with your deepest values and goals. You cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. You cannot dictate others' perceptions, but you can dictate your presence, your integrity, and the quality of your actions. Mastery is internal first. It is the work done unseen, the effort invested without expectation, and the discipline maintained when no one is watching. Once internal mastery is achieved, external mastery follows naturally. Your influence is felt even if unannounced. Your decisions carry weight even if they go unnoticed at first. Your achievements unfold with a quiet authority that others cannot ignore. This is the paradox of silent success. The less you chase recognition, the more recognition seeks you. Consider the metaphor of a tree bearing fruit. It spends years growing, strengthening its roots, and absorbing nutrients from the soil. It does not demand attention or rush the seasons. And when it finally bears fruit, the world benefits effortlessly from its quiet growth. Your life works in much the same way. Preparation, patience, and invisible effort create a harvest that reveals itself in due time. A life of quiet mastery also requires the courage to embrace solitude. Solitude is not loneliness. It is the space where growth, reflection, and strategy thrive. In quiet moments, you refine your vision, observe the patterns of life, and strengthen your capacity for impact. The world may celebrate noise, but lasting success is cultivated in silence. Another essential element of quiet mastery is discernment. It is knowing what to reveal and what to keep private. It is acting with intention rather than reaction. It is speaking only when words enhance action, not to dilute it. Discernment allows you to conserve energy, maintain focus, and amplify results without unnecessary friction. Timing, as we have explored, is inseparable from mastery. Knowing when to act, when to wait, and when to reveal your progress is crucial. Premature exposure can undermine achievement. Delayed action can squander opportunity. Mastery emerges when preparation, patience, and timing converge, when every move is deliberate and every decision resonates with purpose. The most profound reward of quiet mastery is freedom. Freedom from the need for approval. Freedom from comparison. Freedom from the distraction of others' expectations. When you cultivate power quietly, you operate from a place of internal authority. Your energy is your own. Your actions are deliberate. Your victories are inevitable. And perhaps the most transformative aspect of this journey is the understanding that influence does not require performance. You can shape outcomes, inspire others, and create impact without seeking recognition. The work itself, done consistently and with integrity, becomes the ultimate testament to your mastery. Quiet mastery also invites reflection. It allows you to step back and see life as a whole, rather than being consumed by immediate results or fleeting praise. It teaches you to measure success, not by visibility, but by alignment with your values, purpose, and vision. It encourages you to savor the process, knowing that the journey itself is the training ground for enduring achievement. Let me leave you with this. The world is noisy, fast, and impatient. Many will chase visibility, recognition, and shortcuts to success, but those who choose quiet mastery cultivate a life that is deliberate, resilient, and impactful. They understand that true greatness is not about how loudly you announce it, but how powerfully you live it. As you close this audiobook and step forward into your own life, remember that every silent effort, every patient action, every moment of focused attention is shaping the legacy you will leave. You have the tools, the understanding, and the mindset to win quietly, influence profoundly, and create lasting impact. Embrace the journey of invisible growth. Trust in the rhythm of timing. Value silent influence. Honor your discipline, and act decisively when the moment is right. This is the path of quiet mastery, a life lived with intention, depth, and lasting significance. A life where your actions, not your announcements, define your success. A life where your victories speak for themselves, and your influence leaves a mark long after words have faded. You are now ready to focus in silence, to prepare in patience, to act with precision, and ultimately to win in public without ever needing to announce the journey. This is the quiet mastery of life, and it begins with